Hello, and welcome, better late than never, to my full show review of NXT Vengeance Day 2024. We started things off with Vic Joseph and Wade Barrett on commentary, which I was happy about. I like Wade Barrett on commentary. I am not that big a Booker T fan on commentary. So, yeah, that was an instant plus for me on the show. Anyway, straight into the first match. It was the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Final, which I now can say apparently. Obviously, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams against Baron Corbin and Bron Breakker. It was very funny to hear Wade Barrett doing the Booker T thing during the Trick chants during the Hayes and Williams entrance. You know, the thing where the crowd chant "whoop that Trick," and then Booker T usually goes, "Yeah, and I like it," and stuff. It was just really funny having Wade Barrett do it, which I realise me doing it is just as bad as Wade Barrett doing it, but it was just really funny. I'm so glad he did it. It was great. Corbin and Breakker did dueling bikes as an entrance. I'm not sure if we were supposed to be communicated, look, they're so on the same page, or if it was like one-upsmanship, and I think it was even mentioned on commentary as a possibility, and I was like, oh yeah, I thought it was just same page stuff, so now I'm in doubt. So let me know what you thought of that in the comments. Was that same page-ness, or was it the opposite? This was a really good tag match. I feel like it lost some fluidity. There was a moment where Bron Breakker hit the ropes really fast, and somehow his head just passed through the top rope, so it was on the outside, and then so when he bounced back off the ropes, his neck just hit the ropes, and it seemed to like really knock him, because the match lost a lot of its fluidity after that moment. For me, it seemed to be a real turning point in terms of the smoothness of what was happening. The match was still good after that. Like, it just felt like some stuff felt a bit more janky. May just be a coincidence, but it felt linked to me. I hope he's alright. Obviously, this review is going up after this week's episode of NXT, and I have watched it. I figured I might as well before I record the review. And obviously, Corbin and Breakker were there, and they've arranged their tag title match for next week, so I can only assume he's fine, which is good. We saw Baron Corbin do an outside dive, like, assisted by Breakker, which was wild. I don't know if we've ever seen that before, so fair play. These guys are turning face soon. Like, it just feels like it. I know they're still doing some heelish stuff, but they're also really playing to the fact that the crowd are getting on board with them, so yeah. Trick Williams tweaked his knee doing a kip up, which I wonder if that's like foreshadowing for the main event. I wonder if something will happen there. The finish was good as well, where Mello like literally jumped in front of Breakker trying to spear Williams, but Mello was the legal man, so actually got pinned off that. For Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin to win the Dusty Cup, which I predicted. So 1 from 1, baby. I was pleased with that. It was a good match overall. I did thoroughly enjoy it. Like I say, there was that scary moment, and it knocked a bit of the fluidity out of the match, but generally just still a really good tag team match. Up next was Dijak versus Joe Gacy. So in between the matches, we had a Roxanne Perez versus Lyra Valkyria package that felt like the one they showed before the match starts. So I'm not sure what that was about. But anyway, this was a really fun match. Joe Gacy is absolutely nuts, and I love it. I actually tweeted out today after watching this week's NXT that I love Joe Gacy now. Like, he's so good. Dijak brought a nightstick to the ring and revealed it from under his jacket once they were both in the ring. And then Joe Gacy produced like one of those extendable batons. They are lethal, by the way. Like, I'm glad they never actually tried to use that in a work way, because I know you don't have to swing them very hard, like, to do a lot of actual damage. So I'm glad they just did it for the moment of him producing it, kind of thing. There was a fun bit where Joe Gacy put a bunch of, like, toys, like army action figures and toy cars and stuff on a table, like, instead of, like, thumbtacks, or the indie one is, like, using Legos, isn't it? I thought this was a fun, like, alternative to both of those. And then Dijak ended up going through that table, like, from quite far away and barely hit it, to be honest. It looked like a really rough landing. Yeah, so there was lots of fun stuff in this match. It was a really unique no disqualification match with Joe Gacy's shenanigans. So Joe Gacy duct tape wrapped Dijak's head over his eyes so he couldn't see, which was really fun. And probably not for Dijak. Like, that was probably horrible, the moment where he had to, like, pull it off. Like, duct tape's grim. But Dijak, while he was blinded, managed to catch Joe Gacy and put him into a feast your eyes, but then couldn't find him to pin him, which I thought was really funny. I thought that was a really good spot. And then when Dijak does rip off the duct tape, Joe Gacy's just upside down in the corner, just like kind of head standing on the middle turnbuckle. I love this match. I can't sing its praises highly enough. The finish came with a nightstick shot and then another feast your eyes for the 3. And then the camera like pans in on Joe Gacy, who's unconscious but still got a massive grin on his face. Great stuff. Absolutely loved it. I predicted Dijak to win, so 2 from 2, baby. But yeah, this was a great match. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This is like, this to me is how you do like comedic wrestling. Like sometimes WWE really missed the mark on comedy wrestling. This was really good because it was like, there was comedy bits, but it didn't take away from the brutality of an ODQ match. It didn't take away from building Dijak. You know, it just did really well, in my opinion. Next, we had the first of many Chase U calendar signing segments, where they were just going on about, you know, how well it was going and how JC James saved Chase U, blah, blah, blah. And then we saw Obafemi curling like a girder backstage, because of course he was. Like, what is it about when you're really big and strong, you apparently can't just use weights? Like, why does it have to be like a piece of structural equipment or something? Like, just show him curling weights like any normal person, but whatever. Yeah, next was the 6-person tag, Bronco Nima, Lucian Price, and Jada Parker, OTM, taking on The Family, which is Tony D'Angelo, Channing Lorenzo, and Adriana Rizzo. This was a fun 6-person tag. OTM looked really good, actually. I didn't realise quite how new they are, like to NXT TV, because, you know, I hadn't been keeping up until recently, so, like, as when I started really keeping up, they were already kind of about. So, yeah, I hadn't realised how new they are, but they look really good in this match in defeat. I thought it sang really well to Tony D'Angelo's character being the boss, that he really took charge of the match to basically get his team the win. I predicted the Family to win, 3 from 3. I'll be honest, I didn't take a whole lot of notes on this match, but I just remember enjoying it and thinking both teams came out of it looking really good. And Tony D'Angelo especially looked good. Up next was the Women's Championship match, Roxanne Perez challenging Lyra Valkyria. We got another video package for this match. Was it the same one? I don't know. I skipped it because I wasn't watching live, so I just skipped it. I was I've seen a video package for this. Skip. This was a really fun match. You know, it was what you'd expect from these two, like a really good quality women's wrestling match. Perez hit Pop Rocks, and then suddenly Lola Vice comes out with her contract to cash in for her opportunity on the Women's Championship. Tatum Paxley, who's obviously been weirdly stalking Lyra Valkyria recently, tried to stop it, but failed quite dramatically. And the match became a triple threat. And it became a really fun triple threat. I thought it might not have much legs, because it was basically coming to the end of the match anyway, and then you add a fresh person in. But no, it went quite a bit longer and turned into a really good triple threat as well. Roxanne Perez hit the Pop Rocks on Lyra Valkyria again, but Tatum Paxley made the save, which then what happened? Paxley made the save, and then shortly after, I think she take Roxanne Perez out of the match, maybe, or Roxanne Perez went out of the match after her. I can't quite remember the details. It's a couple of nights ago now that I watched it, obviously. But that took Perez out of the match briefly, and then Lola Vice tried to hit that like spinning kick that she does on Valkyria, who ducked it, hit Nightwish, and pinned Lola Vice for the 3. And I'm counting that as a correct prediction. I predicted Lyra Valkyria to win. She did. Might have been a slightly different match by the end than the one I predicted, but I'm still calling it. So 4 from 4, yeah. And this was a really fun thing. I'm curious about the decision to have Lola Vice fail her cash-in. Because it carries the same sort of negative vibe to me as the Money in the Bank cash-in, because you can cash in at any time, no matter, as vulnerable as the champion needs to be for you to feel comfortable cashing in. and you cash in and then lose, and it's like, so kind of just makes you look a bit dumb. Like, why didn't you just let Roxanne Perez get the pin, get out there, and then like attack her straight after the match, and then cash it in, and cash it in one-on-one on someone you've already beaten down? Like, you know what I mean? It just feels a bit dumb to have it play out the way it did, like kayfabe dumb. Anyway, we had and then she's lost again to Roxanne Perez on NXT. So Lola Vice not looking great at the moment in terms of like how she's being booked, which is odd, because why have her win the tournament? I don't know. Maybe they're going somewhere with it. We'll wait and see. Anyway, next was another Chase U calendar signing event, and Riley Osborne asks Thea Hale to be his Valentine in this segment, which was, cute, I guess. I think that was what we're supposed to feel from this. The hamming up the awkwardness way too much for me. It's like, it's kind of just a bit cringy at this point. Like, if they were just like organically awkward feeling, it'd be much more effective for me. I'd be rooting for them a lot more. Anyway, then we had this weird like very brief video package. It was just like white scratchy letters on a black background. It said, "Man has three faces: one the world sees, one his family sees, and the real one no one sees, but reflects the evil he truly possesses." And that was it. And there was like, I think there was like the sound of like footsteps or something, or was that the one on NXT? Was it different? I don't know. They replayed it on NXT with footsteps, so I think that was in the original one. I think it was the exact same video thing. Never really talked about it on commentary when we cut back to the arena or anything. Just that both times as well, on Vengeance Day or on NXT last night. Just didn't even mention it. So I don't know. Is this going to be someone returning? Is this going to be someone making a debut, like a Performance Center guy? I've no idea. Let me know in the comments who you think it might be. Up next was Dragon Lee defending challenging Obafemi for the NXT North American Championship. Obafemi's little dance walk during his entrance in time with his music was a bit... I don't know. It didn't work for me. It seemed like someone really trying really hard to be cool and failing. Like, I don't know. I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. I thought it took away from the aura of like this big monster man trying to do a little dance to his music on the way to the ring. I don't know. Didn't love it. This was just a classic David versus Goliath match. It was good. Like, it was a really good match, actually. There was, like, this moment where Dragon Lee had, like, an octopus stretch type submission locked in, and Obafemi, like, walked to the ropes, but Dragon Lee, like, hooked up both his arms, so he got to the ropes by biting the top rope. Like, he literally just clenched on with his teeth, and the referee broke the hold, which I thought was fun. There was a fun moment on the outside as well where Femi chokeslammed Dragon Lee at Wade Barrett's chair, like just into a desk chair. That was really fun. And then back in the ring, he hit the pop-up powerbomb for the 3, and I predicted that. So 5 from 5, baby. I'm so good at NXT predictions. But yeah, I made the note this was a good match. Dragon Lee looked credible, like as having a chance to win the title back, but Obafemi still looked like an absolute monster. So yeah, it was really well executed as a David versus Goliath match. Then we went back to the Chase U calendar signing. Lexis King was trying it on with Thea Hale, and Riley Osborne didn't appreciate it, so they had a brawl and set up a match for this week's NXT, which has now happened. Then there was like this weird backstage interview with Ava, who's obviously like now the GM of NXT, but like it was just singing NXT's praises, but in a really weird way where it felt like she was kind of proud, and it's like personally proud, and it was like, but you've only just become the GM, so you're not responsible for any of those things that you're claiming to be proud of. I don't know. It came across really awkward and weird, and yeah, I don't know how into Ava as the GM I am, but I know that segment was not great for me personally. I didn't love it. Then there was a backstage segment where the two teams that lost in the semi-finals of the Dusty Cup were like talking about how if they'd have been facing each other, they'd have won, and blah 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 blah. So we set up is it Enoife how you say his name, I'm not sure. Anife, I can't remember exactly what his surname is. But the team of Edriff, him and Malik Blade against Axiom and Nathan Fraser on NXT, which again has obviously already happened now. And they officially announced Lexis King versus Riley Cup, and they announced the Dusty Cup celebration for Baron Corbin and Bron Breakker, which again happened. So yeah, just a few random segments to break up before the match. Oh, there was also a backstage brawl, Roxanne Perez and Lola Vice going at it, because obviously Perez was mad at Vice for essentially costing her the title by cashing in exactly when she did. And that set up their match for this NXT as well. And finally, we get to the main event of the evening, which is Trick Williams challenging Ilya Dragunov for the NXT Championship. I'm not confident in my prediction. This is during the entrances. I was writing this in my notes, but I'm sticking to it. It feels like the moment when this should happen. Like it just, when you get that feeling. It felt a bit, and I'm not comparing it on scale, but it felt a bit like the Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns match at WrestleMania 39, where it was like, yeah, this is the moment to do this, like to end the Reigns reign and to give Cody the win, and it just felt like very much the moment, which maybe I should have learned from, because WWE didn't do it then either. So like, but and then I put Melo coming out with Trick is sus, like just Melo being in the ringside area, sus, This is a crazy good match. I thoroughly enjoyed this main event. There was a moment where Melo got in Dragunov's face, swung for him, which would have caused the DQ if Dragunov hadn't ducked. But then Dragunov clubbed him, forearm smashed him in the back of the neck, and Melo fell into a chop block on Trick's knee and took his knee out, which obviously was the same knee that he tweaked earlier. So when I said foreshadowing, ? Kind of, yeah. They didn't really play off it that much, if I'm being honest, though. There was a ref bump, Trick got the visual pin, and suddenly I felt a lot better about my prediction, because when you get a visual pin, you lose the match. That is universally true. The finish came to this match. It was a really good match. I'm not going to go through the whole match, just mention a few key moments, but basically the end was both men got up in the corner, and Trick ran in trying to hit his knees. Dragunov ran in and managed to avoid the knees and hit the Torpedo Moscow headbutt, and got the 3. So I predicted Dragunov to win. So 6 from 6. Wow. And I put a note that Trick should be mad at Melo, to be honest, because Melo was weirdly getting involved in weird spots where Carmelo Hayes knows better than that, but he wasn't getting involved in such a way that was really obviously detrimental to Trick. It was just distracting to both men, and I'd just be mad, to be honest. I'd be just stay out of it, Anyway, turns out he's got real reason to be mad. Melo told Trick after the match, "It's you and me, you're my boy," and then Trick turned his back and Melo's face changed, and you were like, yeah, here we go. And then he chop blocked his knee again, and then he hit him in the knee with a chair so many times, dozens of times, and bent the chair all out of shape and what have you. And I'm curious for the explanation on Tuesday/Friday. To be honest, they've had because I wasn't sure if that was going to be the final time we see them in NXT and they play out the feud on SmackDown or something. But no, Melo was on NXT, and the explanation was pretty standard. It was pretty much what I was expecting of how dare you step up and try and take my spot? You were the underling, you were my hype man. I'm the NXT champion level guy in this group. It was pretty standard, to be honest. And Melo also admitted to having been the one who attacked Trick all those months ago. So yeah, that just to catch you up on what's happened since then. But yeah, overall, I thought this show was really good. There was a lot of the backstage stuff was really janky and felt out of place and not that good. But most of the in-ring stuff was really, really good, which is what you're essentially watching for at the end of the day. But the backstage stuff kind of took you out of it briefly, and then you had to get back into it for the matches and stuff. So maybe NXT needs to work on that side of things. But the in-ring stuff, great stuff. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah. Really good show overall. Let me know what you thought of the show in the comments, how you did predictions-wise, etc. Did anything surprise you? Obviously, I got 6 from 6, so I was still a bit surprised that I was right about the main event, if I'm honest, but, I predicted it, so there you go. But yeah, just let me know your thoughts on the show as a whole in the comment section below. Leave a like, it'd be greatly appreciated, helps me out massively. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new here, and share with your friends if you think they would enjoy. But for now, all I have left to say is thank you very much for watching. As always, I've been EBEZA, you've been amazing, and I'll see you next time.